Hey, Chuck with RPM Magazine. So we're trying to get our new shop set up to use for some new projects and stuff. And first thing we got to do is get some compressed air in this building. So we brought our old air compressor from the old shop, and now we got to get it set up to use here. And we're doing that with the RapidAir 3/4 inch system. So follow along and we'll show you a little bit about how that goes. Here under the shed we have our old Champion 1975 air compressor plumbed into the building. That's not the 1975 is not the part number, that's the year this thing was manufactured. As you can see here, we got it set on the ground and we just plumbed it right into the building here with a hard line, and got our shut off controls and stuff on the wall. So this thing goes inside the building and we pick it up inside and be able to control it and shut it off. I can turn it off inside with the breaker, or we come out here and turn it on and off here. And I just stuck one little outlet there on it just in case we want to get some air back here for, you know, equipment and junk. So anyway, that's that. So inside here we got where the line comes in. So we got our filter separator, regulator, another filter, shut off valve, and then this right here, I just put this here for the bench so I can blow off things, you know, and this is where it feeds for the whole rest of the system. So that should work out pretty well, where we got air everywhere, even in the bathroom. So we're gonna use this RapidAir system here. This is their Max line. This is their 3/4 inch kit. Now you can go online on their website and they've got a little tool where you can actually draw out your building and map it out where you want to put the air and everything, and it'll tell you exactly what you need and all the parts and everything. But I found it was cheaper for me just to get two of these master kits. That was right much more affordable. I've already opened one of them. I'm going to open this one right in front of you here so you can see what's in it. Had to pick up a couple extra parts that I needed to make mine work. A couple extra T's and just some random fittings and stuff that I needed for my custom deal here. But as you can see, my shop here, we got we're gonna plumb around the top of the building. We got this thing insulated with spray foam. We're gonna run our main line all the way around the building, up in the loft, all the way around. Then we're going to plumb it down the walls. Some of them are going to be behind the walls. We're going to do it that style, and then we might do a couple where we put them on the outside of the wall and make this thing work out for us pretty well. So let's get this thing open here and show you what's in there. All right. What have we here? By the way, it tells you what you got on the outside, mostly. But this stuff here is really easy to use. It's got this big hose here. Stuff is semi-rigid. So in other words, it'll hold its shape when you bend it, but it's not real. It's not like rubber or anything. It's actually hard line, and you know, it's made to withstand the pressure of way past what you could ever do with your normal air compressor. And then we got a box of parts here. And by the way, this thing is 100 foot of the main hose here. So you see I got 200 feet of it here. It should be enough to go around the building and get us down the walls and all that good stuff. All right, inside we got us some instructions. Yeah, we don't use those. And then got these little clips here to put it on the wall to actually hold the tubing. Got a nice tubing cutter. Should actually come in handy for other stuff. Got us a little tool here used to install the ends. And we got these awesome outlets here. These things are made, you can put them on the wall. You can put them in through the back, through the wall, or right down the wall onto the top. Then you got a place to put your little petcock valve where you can drain the water that accumulates in the system. And then you put your actual fitting on the front to whatever kind you want to use for your stuff. I use big 1/2-inch fittings, so they don't really work good for, you can't walk up to it with your common 1/4-inch quick connect and stick it in there, but I got everything adapted so it works pretty well. But you get all these things here. We get 2, 3 of those, and get all our petcock valves. So having 2 kits, I've got 6 of those outlets. We're going to use them too, because I like to have air wherever I am. I don't want to string hoses all over the place. We're even going to put one outside the building. We already got one in the back. So we're going to be able to get air wherever we want it and not have to look like a monkey running around with a big hose, tripping over it and getting it caught around our neck and choking ourselves to death and killing nature and wildlife. So anyway, let's get started getting this thing on here. Our little outlet blocks here, probably one of the coolest things, is makes the whole thing worth it all right here. These things are great. If you ever tried to mount an outlet somewhere, you know that it's not the easiest thing to come up with an idea to get those things mounted. So anyway, like I said, I use these big 1/2-inch outlet quick connects. You can see the difference in them and say a 1/4-inch. Now this is a 1/4-inch high flow, but you can see there's quite a big difference here. What I do is, for my stuff, I actually use these on one end. I'll use this on one end of my air hose, and then I use a small 1/4-inch on the other end just to hook to my tools, so it hooks to everything. But this keeps the diameter of the hose and the flow as large as possible until it gets to it, so you don't have a lot of loss, especially when you're running big runs that goes all over your shop. The bigger the hose, the better. Kind of like wire. You got a big wire, you can run for further distances without as much loss. So that's kind of the way air works. So we got our blocks here. What you do is you just stick your outlet on the front, and then you put your little petcock valve on the bottom, and then you either go in the top or the bottom or the top of the back for your inlets, and then whatever you don't use, you plug it off with one of these little plugs there. So as you can see here, I got these black iron 90-degree fittings here from the local hardware store to go in the back of these, so I can run the pipe straight down the wall into it and not have to make that turn. So that's with any of the ones that I'm going to put where the hose will be behind the wall board, the wall paneling. Any of the others where I'm just going to go straight down into it, not necessary. We're going to plug that back off and go in the top. So that's a little extra thing. If you want to run it in the wall, you can pick up something like that. These things are like $2 or something. So not a big expense and makes it a lot easier to get it in there. All right. One of the things we found is with our black iron plumbing fitting here we used to get this thing to turn up inside the wall, so you don't have to make such a hard turn with the pipe. It actually wasn't deep enough away from the block. So when you got it on your wall board, it actually doesn't go all the way through far enough, and you can't get your nut on it because it don't stick out far enough. So the solution here is we're going to use the little close fitting with a coupler, and then this fitting here. We're going to use a little bit of ARP thread sealer on this thing. RapidAir recommends using Teflon tape and then Teflon paste, or like plumber's paste. You can do that. I'm not a big fan of the tape on anything. It usually just ends up getting pushed up, and if you ever look at it, most of the time it doesn't even stay on your threads. So I like ARP stuff. I use plenty of it, and I've never had anything leak, any kind of pipe fitting leak after using ARP pipe sealer. So this will be just fine. All right, got our all of our thread sealer on there. Now we just put our parts together and get this thing all pushed together. We're going to have it about the perfect distance to fit inside the wall. Now, thing a lot of you car guys might not have is a pipe wrench. Not really something we use on our race cars much, but kind of handy to have around. These things work pretty good. We'll just go ahead and turn this thing till we get it tightened all the way. Go around one more time and stop with it up. And there we have it. Now this thing will fit in the wall, give us room for our board, and have exactly the right amount of space to go up to the top. We already got our distribution block on the wall. And we're going to go up through the ceiling, and up in the loft we're going to have our loop go around. So we've got to actually cut us a piece to go in here. So what we'll do is I'm just going to measure from the ceiling down. Then I'm going to add about 15 inches or so to that to make it so it goes plenty of room above it. But we've got 41 inches. We're going to make this thing about 57 inches. So we'll go ahead and go cut it here. I want this thing squared up nice and straight. I want to get it crooked. We want to make sure we get a nice straight cut so it seats good against our T-fitting. So we're going to squeeze down on it. We're going to move it around a little bit and get a nice clean cut. Our piece here, we got our compression fitting that's on here. It's actually a little ferrule. So we're going to put that aside for now. I'm going to pick my straightest, best looking end to go down because the rest of it's going to be up in the ceiling. You're not going to see it anyway. We're going to run this up in the ceiling. Okay. We're going to take our little tool that they give you. It's got 3 different sizes on it. You're going to use the appropriate size. And then I found when you get to the end, you want to take it all the way to these little teeth right there and actually run it around there. What that actually does is it puts a little bevel, inside bevel on it, and it helps it to slide over these little O-rings. If you don't do that, it's got a sharp edge inside and it wants to roll these off. But if you get that little bevel on there, it helps. All right, before you put it down on there, you're going to take your nut, slide it on there. Take your little ferrule, slide it on, pushing up out of your way a little bit. You're going to slide it down onto your fitting, go all the way down. If it's fully seated, then you slide your ferrule and your nut down, screw it onto it, like so. Use my big old West Virginia fit-all, tighten her on down. Get her good and snug and you're done. Here's a close-up look of a pipe that has been beveled and one that has not with the tool they give you from RapidAir. This one here, you can see it has a very sharp edge on the inside where it's been cleanly cut, but when you go to put this on your fitting, it'll actually catch your O-rings and push them off and get them out of the groove, which is not what you want. Whereas this one here, you can see has been beveled with the tool and it has a nice little taper going in, and that allows it to slip right on the fitting and go right in there without grabbing your O-rings and pulling them out. So that's very important that you use that. You can see here closely that the tool has the little cutters on the inside, so it cuts that little bevel when you go on there and twist it in there really good. So pretty handy little tool. You couldn't really do it without this. Now on this one, we're going to put one here, and then we're going to have one that goes through the wall and comes out the other side. So we'll have air inside and outside. To do that, on this one, we're going to use this contraption here. It's a piece of straight pipe between the two outlets, and then we're going to go on the outside of the wall on this one to the top of this one. So the air will pass through on both sides, like so. Here we got our little clips that come with the RapidAir kit. These things just screw right to the wall or wherever you're attaching it to and hold your tubing in place, keep it from moving around. They give you plenty of them, so we put some right across the top of our wall here, just on each one of our metal studs. As you can see over here, we've already started putting it around the building for our loop, and it just go right in the clips. And you see here, you got our T fittings. It goes down the wall to our outlet. And over here, we did one on the outside of the wall. And you got your T. It'll continue around the building. This is the one where we ran it through the building to actually put an outside outlet. So it passes straight through. Wall board off the wall here. Got our wall exposed. We got our fittings in there with the extension in it onto our outlet. Everything's put together. Got our cap and our plug in the top, drain in the bottom, stick it in our hole. I'm going to use a couple of panhead screws here to hold them in place. You can see, looking at the back of it, we can just go straight up and out the top. See, we got our fitting here. We've already put our ARP thread sealer on it. We'll go right down in our 90-degree black iron pipe fitting here, 1/2-inch fitting. Screw it on down in there, tighten it down. Now you can see I'm tightening it with the nut down with the flats down here on the bottom. Not this part, this not where you're tightening it up at. Once again, same procedure as before. Take off our nut and our little ferrule. All right, we'll take our pipe here that we got pushed through our insulation up top. And here we go with the finished product. Got it going around the top of the building, all the way around, going down to the outlets.